Stampers. My name is Linda Bettinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this cute little card. It's not a new idea, it's been around forever. They're called Waterfall cards, and the mechanism allows you to pull from the back and flip through 4 little flaps and then have a message down below. And I had a request in a class that I was doing for some cards for some children. And I used some of these at the time I did this, these were all current stamps, and now they're all retired. This frog and this ladybug series was from a Hostess stamp that just retired, and this from Zoo Babies that retired. So I thought I would redo it in current product. Now, what we need to make this card is I have a piece of Bermuda Bay, and this Bermuda Bay is the regular card size. So this is 5.5 by, let's see, what is it? 4 1/4. 5.5 by 4 1/4. So this is, because the entire card is this, there's no opening and closing. Then I have a piece of designer series paper, and in this case I used some of the Eastern Palace designer series paper, and I like this little star background here. And actually in the class, when we were making it this way, we made it one card this direction and one card this direction, because oftentimes when you make little kids cards, you're sending more than one card into the same household. So I like to make it so that even if it's the same or similar card, it has a different look to it. But we're just going to go ahead and make it up this way. So we have this piece of designer series paper, and this paper is let's see, this one is 4 by 5 1/4. So just enough to sit on the inside here. Then we have a piece of, in this case, this is Pacific Point, and this piece is 9.5 by just a smidge under 2 inches. And what I did was I measured it at 2 inches and then pulled it back a little bit so it would be just slightly under 2 inches. Then we need 4 pieces of Whisper White that measure 2 inches square. And let's see, I've got another one here someplace, but we'll find it in a second. So 2 inches square, and then I match the outside color here, Bermuda Bay. Pardon me. So 4 squares that are 2 1/4 inches square. Then we need another piece. And I'm not seeing my other piece here. There it is. We need a piece that measures 4 inches by 1 inch. And then we need another piece of scrap of the Bermuda Bay to make the little dots that we have here. So let's just get started, and I'll show you how to make this card. And what I decided to do this time is I am using this this suite, Birthday Delivery, in the catalog. It's just such a fun little suite, and this is one where the birthday memories or birthday delivery bundle includes this stamp set. It also includes all of these pieces here that are shown kind of grayed out that represent the dies that you can get in a die set that's part of the bundle. And in this case, the paper is actually a part of the bundle. So it would be the stamp set plus the designer series paper plus the framelit dies. And So you get all 3 in this bundle, and when you order it that way, you save 10%. And I wanted to just share with you a little of the paper. Now, you'll see that I've got a hole in my paper here because I've cut some things out. But there's these cute little birthday cakes, and on the back side is this baker. And there's a couple sheets like that. And then these sheets are this darling poodle in all different kinds of poses, and with a yellow, I think that is saffron, so saffron on the back, I'm not positive. Then this sheet that is all of the little marching animals. There's a fox and a bear and a raccoon and a rabbit. There's a turtle, and I just think they're so cute. And so what I did was I cut some of those out, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. And let's see, the back side of that paper is, kind of a yellow with some of the smaller pieces shown here. And since I think there's yet another one. Yes, there is. There's a couple of them. This one is presents and balloons and hats. And on this side is this absolutely gorgeous polka dot paper with all of the colors in it, and I think that is already very striking. Then there is this piece, which is the parade, if you will, of the little animals with the balloons in the air, and I just think that is so cute. Depending on what you're doing, you could cut out sections of that to put on a card, and have just a without a lot of work, a lot of pattern, and very, very pretty. Then there's this little girl who's kind of historical throwback, if you will. She looked like something out of the 20s, with little cupcakes, and the back side of that paper is more cakes and celebration stuff. The back side of this one is this gorgeous stripe. I can hardly wait to figure out what I'm going to do with that one. That one, it's got a lot of the end colors in it. There's that kind of lemon lime twist, and looks like berry burst in there. Anyway, so it's got a lot of really pretty papers, and what I did was I used this paper and I cut out some of the shapes. So I've got the little raccoon, I've got the turtle, I have the squirrel, let's see, I should have some more. I have the rabbit carrying the cake, and if I remember right, I have a birthday cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 pieces of white cardstock. Now, you could use the stamps and color this in, which is what I did on this one. These were all stamped in black, and then they were colored in with markers, combination of markers and pencils. But these are so cute, I just decided that it would be kind of fun to put them on the pieces of white and have them stand on their own. This little guy's a little too tall, so I'm going to use him on the bottom of my pull mechanism. So I'm just going to go ahead using my silicone mat here and some snail, and I am going to mount these little characters on this white cardstock here. I think they're just darling. They're adorable. They are just adorable. So there's my squirrel, and I think, let's see, on the turtle, now the dies don't cut out all of the little animals. That's why I decided to go ahead and cut mine out. And once you do your cutting, this is actually a pretty fast little card. This guy is just a little big for the 2-inch square that we have here, but once I mount him on the backing, he'll fit just fine. So I thought it would be okay to use him and have him go a little bit off. Well, I'm going to have to. There, like that. And then once he goes on the little mounting card, he'll fit on our space just fine. So there's that one. And then I wanted to use the birthday cake. So I'm going to put the birthday cake and candle here. To be a little careful on this candle because it's kind of skinny. But it will fit on our little piece here. Straighten out that candle a bit and get that mounted on here. So there they are, the 4 pieces. Now then, it's simply a matter of mounting these on the Bermuda Bay pieces. Oh, it's got a little edge. Okay, so I'm going to mount these on here. Again, just using snail. And I think this is just a darling little card for any child, and it's interactive, and so it makes it even more special. Okay. I wonder how long waterfall cars have been around. I can remember seeing them for many years, and some of them are beautiful and elegant, but I decided just to have a little fun with this one. So here's the last one, my raccoon. Which I'll mount on here. All right, now then, this piece is 9.5 by just a smidge under 2, as I told you, and with this one, there's some scoring that you need to do. And I'm going to just bring my scoreboard out here, and you're going to put your piece. I've already scored this, but I want to show you. You put this on your scoreboard along the long edge, and you score it at 2.5, at 3, at 3 3/4, and at 4.5. And basically what you're doing is scoring every 3/4 of an inch. This bottom piece, being 2 1/4, ends up being the same size as our Bermuda Bay mounting piece. So these will fit. This will fit right on this first panel, and then you're going to mount these at 3/4 of an inch all the way up. So the next thing to do on this is you're going to score, and you're going to fold these pieces and burnish your score lines. And on this scoring, you want to have the scoring facing you. So this is what it should look like. And what you're going to do is decide what order you want these little critters to appear on your card. And so which one's going to be at the top? I think I want my turtle at the top, so I'm going to turn him over. And then I think I want the birthday cake. Then I want the squirrel, and then I want this guy. So he's actually the first one that'll go on. And what you're going to want to do, because this is interactive and kids are going to be moving this around, I'm going to use fuse to mount these pieces on this mechanism here. And I am going to put my fuse on this piece. All right. And the only thing that's important about this is that you get this centered. So, and you want it right up against this first score line, but not to interfere with the folding. So just a slight amount underneath the fold line and centered on the card. I think you can see that. It is just underneath the fold line, so I've given it a little tiny margin, and it's mounted to that, but won't stick out on any side here. Then you take the next one in line, and in that case for me, it's the little squirrel. And again, I'm going to put my fuse along here, and then I'm going to line this little guy up just underneath that fold line and even with the little piece below. And so once I'm happy where that is, I can go ahead and set that down and then move on to the next piece. And same thing, put it just under the fold line and lined up with the cards below it. There we go. And then my turtle will be the one that shows on the front. So again, a little fuse. Put your card in place. Line up your pieces. And there we have our mechanism. All right. While we have this out, I am going to use a little piece of, this is retired ribbon. I'm still trying to use up retired stuff from last time. This is a little dapper denim, and I think it's actually exactly the color of this. It is dapper denim on that paper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a length of ribbon here. And this ribbon is just under 4 inches. And I'm going to fold it in half. And what I'm going to do is staple that ribbon to the bottom of this card. So that will be what people pull to make the piece move up and down. And the only requirement here is that when you staple this piece to the bottom of your card, it really needs to be stapled below this last piece here so that it doesn't interfere with pushing the card back or pulling it forward. Now this was a little on the tricky side, but what I did was I just used a plain old stapler and put it into place so that I had try that again. Put that into place far enough down so that I know it wouldn't interfere with the mechanism, and I put it in place so that my staple really grabbed as much of the ribbon as I could. In fact, I stapled it twice because I don't want that to come loose. Now that's on there really good, and we're going to do something to cover up those staples here in a minute. All right, let's move on to putting another part of the card together. Let's take our base here, and what I'm going to do is just using snail, I'm going to adhere this paper onto my card base. So, and isn't this side pretty too? I think depending on what it is you're putting on the outside, you could do some fun things with some lemon lime twist on this one as well. I'm getting used to lemon lime twist. When I looked at it at first, I wasn't sure I was crazy about it. It's growing on me. All right, so I'm going to put this in place. Oops, I've got some glue down here. There we go. Then we're going to take this piece that is the 1 inch by 4 inches, if I remember right, and I'm going to put that down here. And this is the thing that's going to hold the mechanism on the card. It's counterintuitive. It feels like you ought to be gluing something to the back, but you need that back to be able to move. So this is the piece that gets glued to. So once again, with this, I'm just erring on the side of making sure that I have things down good and tight. So I'm going to use my stapler again, and very near the edge, I am going to put a good staple through all of those pieces. And now that is on there very, very firmly. And while I've got this out, I'm going to use a punch, and I have a 1 inch punch here, and I think that's going to be enough. And I'm just going to eyeball it here and take a little slice out of the bottom of this card. And that is so it's very easy to grab this to pull the mechanism to make the card work. And so that's all you need, just a little wedge out of there. Now, what we're going to do to put this together is going to slide this piece underneath here and get this centered about where I want it on my card. And I think that looks pretty good. Centered side to side and top to bottom. And I'm going to pick this piece up and I'm going to put some fuse right in the center of this bar. Okay, now I'm going to check my placement again. I think that's even side to side and top to bottom. And I'm going to glue this piece, this last piece, down on the mechanism. And there you can see that now I can pull this piece and my pieces slide and go back up. And I used fuse because I want it really good and stuck tight. These are going to hold that piece in place and my ribbon is securely on there. So no matter how many times they pull it, it should be just fine. Okay? All right. Now, I'm not fond of looking at staples. And so what I did was I took another little piece of Bermuda Bay and my little 1/2 inch punch, and I cut a handful of circles. And in fact, I have a bunch of little circles here that I've already cut out. So I'm going to grab those. And what I did was I used some glue dots. There's my glue dots here. And I put glue dots and I put that over the staples. And it's just amazing. They just fit and cover the staples. And on the bottom, I put two, one on one side of the staples. It feels like there's a glue dot back here. Maybe not. And put a glue dot down on both sides of the pull mechanism so that it hid the staple from there as well. Now, I have a little happy birthday stamp, and this stamp is the one from Best Birds. I think it's Best Birds. Let me just check that. I marked it in here. Yes, it's this little one here from Best Birds. And I'm using that one primarily because it just fits in here. But now, in fact, I should have stamped that before I put this whole thing together and glued everything down, because now I have a ridge to stamp over. So what I'm going to do is slide my silicone mat underneath here. And I'm going to use some black archival ink. And make sure, take a little piece of scratch paper. Yeah, okay. So now I'm just going to put my happy birthday here a little bit at an angle. There we go. Nice happy birthday. And then I'm going to take my final little character, this rabbit with a cake, and put him on here. And I can still put Dear Jeremy, Love Aunt Linda down here at the bottom, and there's plenty of room to do that. So I'm going to use some snail and add my last little piece here. Oops. Maybe I should do that on my silicone mat. That would be good. Okay. All right. And I'm going to slide those birthday candles right up around that happy birthday and put my rabbit in place, and there's still plenty of room for me to add a little sentiment. There we go. So last little thing, you can do this if you choose to. Oh dear, I hope that's not going to catch. He's going to have to get glued down really exceptionally well, because it's got to slide underneath all of the card mechanisms here in order to get there. And I'll just make sure that that's glued down properly when I'm finished and off video. The other thing you could do is use a stamp on that instead of a character here, in order to make sure that you don't get hung up on the card itself trying to put this back. And I see I'm going to have to, his little tail is not got the right amount of glue on it. Let's see if I can get some on there. Where's my Tombow? That might just be what I need. Put a little dab of Tombow on that tail. Now it's going to ooze out a little bit, but I can clean that up, and when that's dry I can use my glue eraser, and now that'll slide back in there pretty easily. Okay, good. All right, now on this little card, because all of the images were stamped, what we did was we just stamped all of the images again on the back, and then I used these little covers here to cover the staples from the back side. And I am going to use these with a glue dot to cover the pieces on here. Now this stamp set has, I'll show it to you here in just a second. Let me grab one more little circle here and cover up my last little piece of material there. And then this stamp set has a happy birthday on it and the little girl, the poodle, the fox, some presents and hats, and the birthday cake. So you could put those on the back, but they are quite large. So that's why I didn't use them on the inside. The poodle, for instance, right here, would not fit on my 2x2 square, or if he did, he barely fit. I guess it would have fit. The birthday cake would definitely fit. So you could definitely use these as stamps and just go ahead and put some decoration on the back side of that if you chose to do that. But the stamps are, pretty big, and but it would add, I think, a little bit, especially for a kid, to be able to see the back side and have that all decorated. Anyway, that is the card for today. Waterfall card, and like I said, not a new card, but I thought it would be kind of fun with the characters from this birthday delivery set. And so there we have our waterfall card today, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you give this a try. It is a very fun card for a child to receive, like I said, because it is interactive. So thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. All of the details for joining my team are listed below, including my telephone number. If you've got questions or want to consider it, give me a call and we'll chat about the details. The prize draw for June for people who order through me, through Stampin' Up!, is a 5 inkpad set of the new in colors for 2017-2019, and that is Tranquil Tide, Lemon Lime Twist, Berry Burst, Powder Pink, and Powder Pink, Berry Burst, Lemon Lime Twist, Fresh Fig, and Tranquil Tide. And so there's still a few days left in June, and you can get yourself in on the drawing for those 5 stamp pads. And I'll be back soon with more projects. So, bye.